doing that thing again where I come on and react to news, right? As if everybody just needs my reaction to things. But as a Pirate guy on a Friday afternoon, the week before Christmas, with nothing going on at real work, it's the perfect time to react to a Pirates trade, which very exciting one. Probably the most interesting, exciting trade for the Pirates that in my life, I want to say. So it's, and then we'll take this obviously with a fantasy baseball perspective. We'll update the projections and just kind of give a quick rundown of each guy. A lot of interest here for real life, for fantasy, everything. But the headliner, Brandon Lowe, goes to Pittsburgh. Pirates get Lowe, Jacob Melton, Mason Montgomery. Astros get Mike Burrows. The Rays get Jacob Melton and Anderson Brito. So the Pirates end up getting 3 players for one. Lau's on a 1-year deal. Mangum, whatever, nothing special. 29-year-old kind of utility guy. Mason Montgomery, pretty sure. We'll see. I haven't looked at him yet. I remember him as being a pretty decent left-handed reliever. But, Mike Burrows, young righty, showed him some good stuff last year. We'll talk about him as well. The Rays, I suppose Jacob Melton's a good get. Anderson Brito, I don't know a ton about him, but we'll take a look. Seems like the Pirates obvious winners in this one as they try to build something for 2026 to go with that pitching staff. Everybody knows kind of about Brandon Lowe, but I'm pretty sure it's Lowe, right? Is it Lowe? Lowe or Lowe? We'll just go right to the projection because this isn't an unknown guy by any means. Let's see if it updated. I actually I ran the updated teams and then hit the button, but I didn't actually check if it would show up. I got to hit the reload button maybe. Not a great live reaction video so far, but yes, Pittsburgh there. All right, so 500 plate appearances, that works in. So the injury history with him is a concern if we pull that up. He has not been healthy most years, so you have that concern, and that's kind of where the projection of around 500 plate appearances comes from. Played 134 games last year, but before that it was 3 straight years under 110 games. Really has been he's had 2 full seasons if you can even consider the 134 games last year a full season. But career 807 OPS, 31 homers last year, had the big 2021 season with 39, probably helped by the small ballpark they were playing in last year, but PNC Park's not a bad place for left-handed power. The projection turns out to be 23 bombs, 255 average, 466 slugging, 5 steals for Lowe in Pittsburgh. That's probably with an IL stint cooked in, though. If you go to a 600 plate appearance projection for him, as you can do on the app here, it goes to 28 homers. I mean, he's the Pirates' best hitter. I would imagine he hits number 2 or number 3. It's him, Reynolds, Cruz, really the only 3 probably above average-ish. I don't like Cruz and Reynolds are kind of average at this point, but yeah, no doubt Lowe the best hitter in the Pirates lineup. So for fantasy, he was getting downgraded for the Rays. So I wrote him up already. He's kind of, pull up the ADP maybe. We'll let the high stakes people give us an idea of where he was going. It was going to be a pretty big Park downgrade, even if he hadn't gotten traded, right? Because the Rays are going from Steinbrenner Field it's back into the Tropicana. And so from one of the better hitting environments to a below average one in Tropicana, which we're seeing. I mean, we saw Lowe in 2021, like we showed, have a big season in Tropicana, but that was 5 years ago. He's past the prime, maybe some injuries, maybe have taken some of the stuff away, but ADP around 180, 190. And the Park stuff was a concern, but so this is a step up from Tropicana, but it's still a step down from what it was last year. Again, PNC Park, not it's probably a little bit above average for left-handed home runs. It's not nearly as good. It's pretty rough for right-handers, but this is what the Pirates needed. I mean, they had Nick Gonzalez slated in to play second last year. This is a big upgrade for them. Big power bat that they desperately needed. Now, the other kind of the main, let's stick with who the Pirates got, then we'll go to the other teams. So the other guy for them, Jake Mangum, not much of a fantasy relevant guy. Good number of steals. He's a fast switch hitter, plays outfield pretty well, I think. Very fast last year with the Rays. Ended up playing for 430 plate appearances, hit 296. Expected batting average 242, though, so overperformed there a bit. A 344 BABIP, hit a ton of ground balls, 62%. Very little power, 3 homers, 2.6% barrel rate. So, yeah, not going to be a home run hitter. Crazy high ground ball rate, but maybe that's kind of by design with the speed he has. Just get a ball on the ground, try to beat it out to first, and then steal second. He was a successful base stealer, and he fits right in. He fits into the Pirates outfield. I would think they acquired Garcia from the Red Sox earlier this year. I would think that this gets Mangum some not everyday player probably. But the Pirates outfield right now, O'Neal Cruz is in there in center. Maybe Mangum even can step in to play some center field when the Pirates have a lefty, are facing a lefty, because Cruz did play against lefties last year, but he was terrible. So maybe they don't want to do that again. Brian Reynolds locked into right field. They have this, Jahost. I knew how to say that like a couple weeks ago. I saw how to say it, but I forget. Garcia and Sawinski are currently, before this trade, the left field and DH. So, yeah, there's plenty of room for Mangum to play. I think he probably starts almost every day. I don't know. It's a big left field in PNC Park, so they could use the defense, the speed out there. So I think he gets plenty of reps, and that will that turns into plenty of steals, right? The projection on him, we'll do a 600 plate appearance projection on him as well. 10 homers, that feels a little bit high, but 24 steals and a 277 batting average. So he can do that and fits in the Pirates. So for fantasy, maybe a late round, like pretty late round steals source. Maybe this trade probably ups his playing time projection a bit. ADP's been in the upper 300s so far. I think this probably moves him up a little bit because, again, like he wasn't quite an everyday player for the Rays, and you would think that he's got a better chance to do that for the Pirates. The last guy, Mason Montgomery, left-handed reliever going to Pittsburgh, which the Pirates needed. They don't have a lot of left-handed pitching. They signed, Gregory Soto to grab one lefty. Mason Montgomery, 30% K rate last year in 44 innings, 13% walk rate. That's high, but it's not as big of a deal for a reliever. 4-seam slider. 2.71 JA ERA, 45% ground ball rate. Good reliever, swinging strike rate 18.3%. Heavy fastball, 99 mile an hour, 4-seam fastball as a lefty. I better actually make sure that he's a lefty, because there are a few Montgomerys in Tampa Bay, right? And get it mixed up, but yeah, I'm right. So left-handed heavy fastball, it's a good reliever. The thing with Brandon Lowe that I didn't mention is the contract. It doesn't matter for fantasy, but there's 1 year left on his deal. I imagine the Pirates have to spend some money or else they are going to get in trouble. I think that's kind of the concern. I mean, they made the offer to Schwarber, and it all seems like, they weren't serious about acquiring Schwarber, right? But it seems like they are just trying to make it look like they're trying to spend money, and they need to get the payroll up. It's like a $60 million payroll or something like that. You can't go into a season like that without being like the league looking at you with the side eye being like, we're gonna have to talk about this revenue sharing thing because you guys aren't even trying. So I think it's a good guess that they try to give Lau an extension and buy some more years on him. If not, though, then he's a trade candidate in late July at the deadline if they aren't competing. But it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me for the Pirates to go after a 1-year rental player. That doesn't seem to be their style. So I would imagine they're going to try to extend him. That's one thing to try. That's another thing for the guy to accept it and say, yeah, I want to play in Pittsburgh for the next 5 years, when he's not going to have the greatest market as a, so Brandon Lowe will turn 32 this July. He heads into free agency as a 32-year-old. He's not going to have a big market, so it's not like he'll be definitely holding out. Maybe he takes the extension when he can get it. I don't know. This has been a guy the Pirates have kind of been talking about for a long time, so maybe there's something here that they think they can extend him. I imagine that's the case. But Mike Burrows, the other big name for immediate fantasy relevancy. I already really liked him last year. A lot of good signs, 24% K rate in 19 starts, 13.1% swinging strike rate, a 3.56 JA ERA, which is my like kind of Sierra like stat. Good. I mean, I was buying him. I didn't know if he would for sure be in the Pirates rotation, but in the Astros rotation, he's in there. The Astros must have liked him to be kind of the main guy they get in this for Melton and the other prospect. Four-seamer, changeup, slider, all 20% usage or higher. The four-seamer, all of these pitches grade out at least average. Four-seamer was okay. It wasn't anything great. 46% strike rate's below average. It's not really what you want. Hitters slugged pretty well on at 529, but the changeup is disgusting. It's one of the best changeups in the league, as I've talked about here. 25.8% swinging strike rate on the changeup, 54% strike rate. That keeps lefties. He's very good against lefties, so you're not going to have splits problems. He just needs to improve that fastball a little bit, but younger guy. Let's see exactly how old he is. I want to say 25 or 26. 26. Just turned 26 in November, so he'll be 26 all next year. Astros, pretty good track record of doing things with pitching prospects, especially right-handed guys with some velo, and that's Burrows. I mean, you kind of think of Garrett Cole in this specific transaction, right? Astros traded for Garrett Cole. Not quite the same thing. Like Burrows is no Garrett Cole, but ADP around 350, 360. I think that's got to come up at least a couple rounds going to Houston. You have to like the landing spot there with Houston and they're kind of their pitching factory or whatever you want to say. But also just he's guaranteed a rotation spot now. Let's pull that up. Astros with Valdez very likely departing. He's a free agent, so I don't think he's coming back. It's Hunter Brown, and then absolute ugliness. Christian Javier, Lance McCullers, Jason Alexander, Ryan Weiss. Like, I imagine they make a signing in free agency. They're not really going to roll into the season with Christian Javier and Lance McCullers as their 2 and 3. Burrows will probably be their number 2 right now behind Hunter Brown. I mean, Javier and McCullers are like, they shouldn't be starting for anybody probably, much less a team that you would think could compete. It's certainly a downtime for the Astros. The dynasty is over. The lineup is holding on, but depending on Alvarez, Yordan Alvarez obviously not a problem when he's on the field, but he's just not healthy. He hasn't stayed healthy. And then 35, 36-year-old Altuve, 31-year-old Correa, Isaac Paredes, I believe. He's still on the squad, I guess, but there's talks about trading. So I don't know. It's kind of a rebuild situation for the Astros, but regardless, Mike Burrows probably is their number 2 starter, and a lot would have to happen for him not to be in the rotation. So he gets a boost there as well. Jacob Melton let's pull up the prospect dashboard because he was kind of the big prospect name in this. He was the Astros number 2 prospect, and he goes to Tampa Bay, where got to be considered a downgrade for him, I'd say, but he does fit in probably. He's made the major league debut. So Tim Tanak, F scores, 117 power, 99 hit to 100 discipline. So not the greatest intangible guy, whatever you want to call it, with the hit tool and the discipline, but 131 speed. And last year in 150 plate appearances in the minors, he had 6 homers, which is a big time 556 slug. He stole 12 bases. He stole 34 in 2024. So big time power and speed. If we go to the projections on him with the Rays, we'll keep it to the 600 plate appearance projection. I have him for nothing. Where'd you go, Jacob Melton? Let's see what Steamer would say. Steamer says over 600 plate appearances again in Houston. Sorry, that wouldn't be updated for Houston, but Steamer says 18 bombs, 29 steals, 227 batting average for Melton. Something's going on with my system. I don't have him in here, so we'll have to fix that. But yeah, homers and steals. And let's look at what he did in the short time in the majors, because he did get to Houston. They just wouldn't commit to any of these young guys. Played sparingly, 78 plate appearances, hit 157, 186 slug, 37% K rate. So struggled, but you're talking about almost, what's that? 15 games, 20 games, 20, like 4. Yeah, probably around 20 games played. 71% zone contact rate. I mean, hit a ball at 111.3. The exit velos are there. If you look at some more minor league stuff with him, let's make it 2024 and 2025. 21 bombs, a max 150 extra base hit plus. So he's really hitting for a ton of power. 462 slug if you combine the last 2 years. 33% pull rate, 12% air pull, 113.6 max EV for Jacob Melton. Plenty of upside here. The Rays obviously had I guess not obviously, but you typically they like a guy and they're going after him specifically, a 25-year-old Melton. So, not a top prospect by any means, not a future Hall of Famer, but a solid player, and we'll see what he can do. I'd say that with the power and speed, you're always interested for fantasy leagues, right? Got to make some contact, and ADP is going to fall even more. With the Astros don't have a good outfield, but they just haven't committed to any of these young guys as an outfielder. But you would think now with the Rays, especially with Mangum leaving town, their outfield certainly has a couple spots open, so Melton probably fits in there, and we'll play at least against righties, right? He's a left-handed hitter against lefties in the minors. Last 2 years hasn't had much success with a 688 OPS, but I imagine he's in there every day again. Not every day for the Rays. He's going to be in the lineup against righties and probably have a moderate amount of success at least. And if he gets some consistent reps, build on the tools he has there. So that's the get for the Rays. I would have to say that, Montgomery, Lowe, and Mangum, kind of a lot to give up for Melton. Anderson Burrito, should take a look at him. Maybe he was the key guy. He's a pitching prospect for the Astros prior. And he's a 21-year-old who had a nice 32% K rate last year, 13.5% walk rate. Didn't allow him a lot of hard contact, only 5 homers given up. Got to see what levels that stuff was at. Let me pull up the other pitcher profile here. I think this is probably a low minors guy, but let me check. Yeah, high A last year, 12 starts with that 31% K rate. Walk problems, 13% walk rate. If we go to bring in 2024, we were up to 77 innings last 2 years, 32% K rate, 13% walk rate. So doesn't allow home runs, a lot of strikeouts, but some command issues. And we're obviously a long way away from talking about him. So to summarize, nice get for the Pirates. It makes them closer to competitive. I mean, they bring in their best hitter and then a depth piece in Mangum and then a solid left-handed reliever just for giving up Mike Burrows, who was kind of on the edge for them. I mean, he was probably SP4, SP5. So makes a lot of sense for the Pirates. They'd have to be considered the winner. We'll see what the Astros can do with Burrows and the Rays. I don't know. It seems like kind of a salary dump. Get something for Lowe while we can, because we know we're not going to resign him. So that's that. I mean, it's hard not to be excited as a Pirate fan, right? We got solid rotation and an improving lineup, you would hope. So that's the quick reaction to a big trade, and that'll do it. Merry Christmas, and we'll see you next time.